Howdy, howdy. Sorry for being late. I meant to get this all started like 15 minutes ago. However, I got distracted. That's my fault. Anyways, I wanted to start this off with a big thank you to all of my active patron members. A big thank you to Fortune, Hermes, the Octohat, Kara, Evelyn Puppy, Steph Yuhi, Dzib, Carbon, Rosebout, Shadow Caliber 01, Jonah Porter, Nunberg, Fish Salad, Antari Akiyama, Sarha Smith, William Hale, Valkyr Tenno, the fan of a truly iconic Foxo, Galahad, Salgor Agaras, Marisa Kursitasame, Benefer the Potato, Genetic Zero, ZT Mackin, Songbird, Kyra, Void Dweller, Teethrear 5, Iceland Rose, Vibe, Morning Owlet, Elster's Shiny Things, Kamek also known as Luna, Tarses, Ramona D, Jessica, Amy Olgers, Tiny Portal, Chloe, Bear the Space Witch, Ellipses, CM Fireflies, Some Guy, Ghost 48, Joanna, Indigo, Kai, Sky, Danny Babani, Banana Busboat, TGSTGA, Beatrice Violet, Liliana Sokrovia, Chalky Rain, Breedable Vaporeon, Eden, Mick Shepherd, Artemis Lake, Captain Aardvark 986, Zentrika, Lily Adams, Hazel, Archibald, Blugoo, Alice, Cowlick 92, Nova the Artist, Prophecy Fulfilled, DFA Plays, Robot Waifu, and Bloodmoth. Thank you so very much again for all of your support. It truly means the universe to me. If you too wish to become a Patreon member, please click the link in the description down below and come visit. I have some exclusive content as well as early access content that will show up before it hits YouTube. Thank you so very much again. I will be a couple more minutes late, but I am very eager to get this party started. It's good to see you again. Hello. Hi. Hello. Oh dear, my microphones are a little bit high. I'm sorry if I accidentally deafened anyone. That is, my bad. Anyways, hi. Hello. Hello. Hi. It's very good to see you again. Hi. Hello. Howdy. Howdy, 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 howdy. Brup. So how are you doing today? I hope that you're doing excellent. I myself have been, well, I've been doing okay. I did not have any nightmares last night, so that is wonderful news. Your average YouTube enjoyer says when the fox is cute is streaming. Great to see you. It's good to see you too, your average YouTube enjoyer. And I might be cute. And I might be streaming. And I might be a fox. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyways. It is excellent to see. I hope that you've been doing well. Now, I said that this is going to be a 3D modeling / gaming stream. I'm mostly going to be working on textures today. I'm going to be applying those textures to models that I have previously fabricated. Mostly just sort of hunting around, editing, tweaking, whatever textures that I have on hand in order to best fit the scene that I'm building. I also built a tree. You might have seen that from the last stream. I built a wonderful tree. Right, switching over to... here we go. In this current view, I don't think I can see any of the chat. So I'm gonna fix that really, really quickly so that I am able to continue talking. Well, I'm a chatterbox. I don't exactly shut up, do I? Except when I do. Infinite streaming for a second there, Lamau. Yeah, that tends to happen. So yeah, this is the current scene that I've built. If you are on Discord, that you might have already seen it. I've been following along with a little bit of a tutorial. However, I kind of got it to a point where I think I could handle it all by myself. I am college trained. I swear to you, I think I know what I'm doing here. But yeah, this is a current texture that I put together, well, cobbled together out of stuff that I found on the internet, as well as through Photoshop, editing it down. And I don't like it. I can tell you immediately several problems with this texture that I really, really don't like. And this is stuff that you most likely can see if you look at it from a certain angle. You can see all these dark spots here in a line. They're subtle-ish, but once you see them, you can't not see them. They repeat in the same pattern. That's because the texture, despite the fact that it's relatively seamless, it also repeats. It repeats that dark spot, and it's not good for that. I also kind of want the dirt to be a little darker. I want it to be a little bit darker. And maybe a little bit more crunchy, if that makes any sense. It kind of looks a little bit like sand. I want it to look more like dirt, like loam. Actually, what is loam? I'm gonna research what loam means. Loam is a type of soil considered ideal for gardening and plant growth due to its balanced mixture of sand, silt, and clay. Yeah, I was right. I was right. Right. Switching back over. Hello. Oh, you're back. Your average YouTube enjoyer says, I cast good luck. You will have good luck modeling. Thank you so very much. So yeah, this environment isn't the only thing that I've got. I've got... BAM! I got a tree. I got a tree. Actually, if I turn that around, it actually looks a little bit nicer in my opinion. Yeah. I'm planning on having something put right here. This is a matter of fact. Let me just handle that really, really quickly. I'm gonna put it into the cold, cold ground. Ah, that's why it won't work. Is it? No. Is it? X-ray not available in current mode. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean X-ray's not available in the current mode? That is right annoying, that is. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Anyways, I'm gonna move that rock into place as best I can. GY, I'm moving it typically on either one axis. I tend to typically move it on one axis in order to make it look the best that it can. I do have a camera in the scene. It is not in the correct position. I'm gonna delete that camera. And I'm going to put it into the appropriate location for the scene that I'm trying to make. This should be alright. Shift A. Bring up my add menus. Look down for here for the camera. And I'm gonna hit Control Alt 0 to put it into frame. I'm gonna hit Shift and middle click, and then I'm just gonna drag the camera back a little bit. There we go. And if I'm feeling really, really brave, I'm gonna hit R and then R again, and I'm gonna hold Shift so that I'm not wildly doing this. And I'm just going to delicately try to put this camera in a position that I would like it to be in. And I think that's good. I think that is really, really nice for what I want to do for the scene. Anyways, I am going to save that first and foremost, and I'm going to hide the rock, and I'm going to hide the camera that I have just added into our scene. Why are you in the collection called branches? That makes no sense to me, sir. There we go. Molto bene. Very good. And I'm also gonna hide that tree. The green. Anyways, believe it or not, this is all just one texture sheet. I did not add 2 texture sheets to this. This is all one texture sheet. I'm about to show you my Photoshop file that deals with it. This is it. This is the entire PSD file, the Photoshop file that I have, and this is the texture that I'm working with. These two are the same grass texture. I was planning on making this into something else, or this into something else, and then rearranging things. And then this here is just the dirt with the grass on top of it, and a little bit of a layering effect that I put underneath it to create this nice little shadow effect. I rather like that part of that texture. I would rather not see it go, but I might need to redo the grass texture entirely because these long streaky bits in it, these long bits and blades of grass, I don't like that. I don't like it, and I am sad that I do not like it. Because I don't want to put down the grass texture. It's just that it's not really that good for what I want to do. It has too many of these noticeable details in them that make it really apparent when it's all tiled out that it's a repeating texture. And I don't like this dirt because, again, it's too bright. It needs to be darker. It needs to be like loam. And it also has its own fair share of dark spots right here and here that I think could be more smoothed out. Otherwise, I think it is a relatively okay dirt texture. But this is far too detailed for what I want to do, so I am going to instead close this project and open up the PSD file for the grass. It's a little bit of a lower texture. That's the point. I don't want it to be like a high texture thing, because if we look back at our Blender scene right here, it is relatively low poly. This is made more apparent if I go into unshaded view, click on this, right click, and then shade flat. These are all just faces. Assigned into, like, this shape that I have shaded smooth, and thus it looks a little bit more rounded towards the edges, sort of like an old video game. Hey, Valkyr. Hey, One Pale Soul, and hey, Mary. One Pale Soul asks, what program do you make your textures in? QUOTA has a nice little toggle to see how everything looks tiled. Oh. It's been a while since I've used QUOTA. I use Photoshop. Yes. Feel free to either laugh or to be like, why? Nicole, why are you doing this to yourself? You know that Adobe is just fleecing you or whatnot. And I have a very simple answer to that, and it's because I have training with this program. I know how Photoshop works. I've been working on it for like 3 months solid, working on texture work. Like, I think it's like 3-4 days out of my week, I would spend 5 hours staring at the screen trying to make a texture that was worth my while. So yeah, Photoshop is something that I really, really like because of, frankly, Stockholm Syndrome. That's the only reason why I like it. It's Stockholm Syndrome. I've trained in it, I know how it works, I know its ins and outs. It's familiar. It's familiar. Valkyrie says, hi everyone, can't stay for a stream, but popping in to say hope you have a great stream, Nico, and hope everyone is having a great night. Thank you so very much, Valkyria. I hope that you are safe, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for popping in. Alright. I think I'm going to go back to the Fox chat view as I look for other grass textures. I want to browse the internet and just, like, show y'all the process of doing that, but this is the internet we're talking about. And even if I write in a grass texture, there can be some right freaky people on the internet who will even go so far as to sexualize grass. And frankly, I don't want to risk my channel by accidentally streaming adult content. I may stoop down, I may call you a good girl, but I'm not about that. I'm not about showing stuff on stream. So I'm gonna look for a grass texture. Typically I'd go for seamless, but then again, I can just make it seamless. I know how to do it, and I'll most likely show y'all how I do it. Huh. I found a grass that I think I might like. And you know what, while I'm here, I'm gonna look for a dirt texture. Yeah. I rather like that one. So I'm just gonna save those 2 images. And I'm gonna demonstrate how I learned to make seamless textures. And I hope that it is relatively okay. Spyro says, when is the wedding, or are you just enjoying engagement bliss for now, if that's something you're willing to share? I want to play this engagement as a little bit loosey-goosey. I have no concrete, like, wedding day set, I want to plan that out with my partner. It might be a personal day for the both of us. I might... When it's, like, completely secure and all of the plans have been nailed down, I'll let y'all know when the wedding day is. I might not stream that day, obviously. There may not be any uploads on the day of my wedding. So, now that I have these textures... Spare says, totally cool not to share, it's none of our business. I have this nasty habit of sharing information that I otherwise shouldn't be sharing. Like, for crying out loud, during streams I used my blood mother's first name. Not really great for OPSEC. And I can tell you exactly why I got in the habit of doing that, too. And it's definitely not for a selfless reason. But that's just getting, like, really, really far afield, and I kind of want to focus on making textures. So I'm gonna go to my Photoshop, I'm gonna close that one out. I think I'm gonna make a new file. Gonna make it... I don't know why it's 540 by 540. You want 512. 512 by 512. Well, actually, no. You don't want that either. You want half of that. You want 256. Doubling that, it would be 512. But having it is 256. And if you have it again, it's 128. And if you have that again, it's 64. You see where I'm going with this? So I'm gonna make it 256 by 256 custom. And we are left with this semi-tiny square. And I'm going to save this project. Assuming it wants to let me save. It won't let me save. Maybe save as. Aha! I have outsmarted your outsmarting. So I'm gonna call this one Grass 2 PSD. Oh, I'm so sorry, Spyro. That really sucks. I did not put it in here. I'm gonna have to put it into the appropriate file first. Ta-da! I moved everything into an appropriate place. Inside this folder, I actually have the texture for the ground that you saw before, and I also have this texture sheet here, which is a couple seamless textures that I found and put together. These are basically the simple textures for the tree. And believe it or not, how we go about getting these textures actually can vary. And one of the things I really want to do is eventually build up my own library with photos that I take purely from my camera of just the ground or the grass or tree bark. Just finding something that I think would look nice, taking a picture of that, and because I took a picture of it, it becomes my property. The picture, I mean. Obviously, if I take a picture of a tree, I don't own the tree, I own the picture of the tree. Oh, goodness. Such a thing as, a little bit complicated. But yeah, so long as it's like something that you take yourself or transform it in a major way. God, I can't. I hate it when I lose a train of thought. Do you hate it when you lose a train of thought? I had it, and I lost it. So anyways, I'm just gonna take this grass that I found, and I'm just gonna put it here. I'm gonna scale it to this. It is very blurry. Oh my gosh, it is blurry. And I can already see a couple of problems that there are these light green stripes across it. I want to get rid of those first and foremost. And I think that the best way of doing that would be to go over to my burn tool. Oh, yeah, first and foremost, I need to rasterize it. No, that just makes them darker. Maybe the dodge tool? Oh, I don't like that. This is complicated. Hmm. 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 So, how do I make this? Oh. Clone stamp. Ah. Ah. Haha. So I'm just gonna go around and just sort of lightly fill in all of these spots where there's just that lighter texture. Just sort of make it a little less obvious. And yeah, despite the fact that I am trained in this program, there are some things I have forgotten. Okay, so Alt-click this. And I'm just gonna put that there. No. This? Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot better. So far, I'm really liking this grass texture. Oh, I'm doing the best I can, Time Marshall. Thank you so very much. Spyro says, and out of interest, since you do a bunch of 3D animation and rendering, what type of graphics card do I use? As far as I understand, that requires some power from the card. Believe it or not, yeah. If I want to do, like, some heavy-duty animations, which I have done, like, for example, fluid dynamic animations, it definitely takes a lot of power from the card. But you don't need, like, a high-end graphics card in order to do some really fascinating and really cool stuff. You could just do stuff with a slightly mid-range card, and it will suit your purposes in a lot of ways far better. that just looks blurry. I don't like that. Then again, it's all mostly blur, so I'm pretty sure that it'll be alright. I'm just gonna go over and grab a dodge tool. No, that's not the tool I want. I want the burn tool. I want to make it really feathery. Yeah, that hardness is down to 0. And yeah, it is an actual setting right here underneath sizes hardness, which is basically just the feathering around the edges of the brush. So instead of like it being solid, it just is a little bit smoother. It blends a little bit. Wait a second. Gotcha. There we go. Should be relatively okay. I'm just gonna save that really quickly. And now I'm gonna show you how to make this seamless. So you gotta go over to Filter, and you're going to go to Other, and Offset. And you gotta do plus 128, plus 128. And you're gonna hit OK, and you're gonna see a little bit of a noticeable cross pattern. And what we can do is we can smudge along the edges. We could use the clone stamp tool, as I have done, in order to fill in these gaps, which I think actually might be a better idea. Just fill them in and make it look as if it just is blended together in a really nice way. And you just do that all the way down the edges of this cross area, this little cross section. Until you can't tell exactly where the blurred edges are. Yeah, get rid of them. Get rid of them edges. And I'm gonna break up that little line down there. I don't want that to be like a repeating pattern. And so I think it looks rather nice. And if I go over to Filter, Other, Offset, it'll just offset it right back again. And you can tell that there is very little in terms of distortion. I think that's some rather nice texture. Maybe I could make this a little bit less vibrant. Maybe I could kill the saturation a little. Make it a little bit paler all around. I kind of like that. I kind of like how that looks. There could be the potential for repeating textures, but all in all, I don't think it's half bad. So now I'm going to save a copy, and I'm going to turn this into a JPEG, because I like JPEGs. They're relatively compact. And I'm just going to call this grass text B file. Hit OK, and that should be alright. Yeah. Yeah. And now I'm gonna hit new, I'm gonna open, we're gonna do another 256 by 256. Gonna create that, zoom in, gonna close that, and I'm going to drag over our loam. I'm gonna stretch. And already I kinda like it. It's got that darker side on that end. I kind of want to take the dodge tool. And I want to... Oh, right. It needs to be rasterized. Always make sure that your layers are rasterized. Gonna call this, dirt. BSDB. Hit OK. Save again. I'm gonna just run that brush over. And already it's looking a lot better. Yeah, it's looking a lot better. Yeah. Yeah. I'm noticing that on stream there's a little bit of a weird a color correction thing going. Maybe the color of my screen and the color of the stream is slightly offset, slightly different. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Yeah, it's 256 by 256, so that's good. Right, and now I'm gonna filter other offset. And already you can see a lot of these big differences here. You can see that cross pattern right down the middle there. You know the drill. Take this and just slap it on. Go back and forth and just stamp them new materials until the cross fades away. I'm gonna try to get some of these rocks and put them in the middle there. Yeah. I like my dirt texture a little bit crunchy. Bam. Boom. Bap. Bam. Boom. Yeah, got really concentrated there. Click. Right, now that that is mostly dealt with, I think I'm gonna take the burn tool a little and just... no, I don't like that. Dodge? Maybe. Hello, Chaos Gremlin. Welcome. Oh wait, I didn't answer Spyro's question. Hang on a second. I don't remember it off of the top of my head, but I do remember where I ordered it from. Ah, yes. It was a Zotac Gaming GeForce RTX 4060 Ti, 16 gigabytes. So that's the type of graphics card that I have. Relatively powerful for what I want to do. Okay, I think that texture is good for what I want to do. I'm gonna try to offset it again. Save a copy. Going to save it as a JPEG. I'm gonna call it dirt text B file. Right. And I'm not demonstrating it on stream. Dang it. Ah, thanks, Mary. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. Go show the texture. Save. I'm gonna go over to new. And this one, I'm going to make it a 512 by 512. It's a bigger square, but it's still a square. And I'm gonna go over here to the textures that I've made. And I'm going to first put this here. And I have to rasterize it. Control C, Control V, Control T, move that up into the right corner. And I'm going to Control C and Control V that and Control T that into this corner in preparation for the next step. Oh, I already like that. That looks pretty frickin' awesome. I can see a little bit of a repeating pattern, but I think it's subtle. Right. Gonna go to the dirt TXB file, slide that on over, click it into place, and rasterize. And now I'm just gonna take this one, Control T, I'm gonna drag it over until it's clicked into place. I'm gonna drag the dirt down. Because, you know, we're gals. We keep a little dirt under our pillow for the dirt man, in case he comes to town. What? Keep a little dirt under your pillow for the dirt man, so he won't bring me down to his lair deep under the mountains underground. That's where he keeps his dirt. So yeah, for the sake of consistency, I'm going to put the grass textures on the top and the grass leading into the dirt on the bottom. So how am I going to do this? Well, gonna click on this grass TXB file, I'm gonna save, and I'm gonna save a copy. Always make a copy of your work. File, open. Cancel, is this? Yeah, it's not the copy. Yeah, always keep a backup, just in case something goes wrong. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit E for my erase tool, and I'm going to make it a bit bigger, because I'm gonna remove an entire half of that grass. Ah, there's a fly in here. No, I hate flies. Locate, get out of my room. I'm trying to stream making a texture. Alrighty, I think that's kind of nice. It's rather faint at the edges. It doesn't need to be highly detailed. And it relatively bleeds into the texture above it, which is the main point of this texture. It might give off a bit of an impression of a seam along that edge, but I don't think it's that bad for the time being. And I think that it's already a nicer looking texture than what I was originally going for. So I'm going to take this bit here, the one that we just erased, half of. I'm going to Control C, I'm going to Control V it, and I'm going to place it under that file. And then I'm going to hit Control T and bring it right here. So I'll be right underneath it, and then I'm just going to drag it down a little bit more. And now I'm going to go from normal to... Ooh, color burn or linear burn. Multiply looks really, really nice too. I might go for... Ooh, soft light or overlay? Subtract if I wanted to make it a little bit more eerie. Hue. Divine, nope. Luminosity. Lighten. Overlay. darker color. Color burn, multiply, darken. I kind of like overlay. I like that. It gives off the impression of being shaded. Kind of gives it a little bit more depth. I don't know, though. Maybe a burn? Maybe multiply. Maybe. Definitely gives a feeling of depth to the grass. Makes it feel like it's curling over onto the dirt texture. And I think that is pretty fluffing neat. Hey, Songbird Serenity, welcome! Welcome, welcome. Yeah. For some reason, there's just this big bloomin' fly that managed to get into the apartment, and it, likes to come in and bother me. Welcome back, Black Wolf. So what do you think of this texture? I think this texture sheet looks really, really nice. And I think it's ready for the next phase of what I want to do. Winter, welcome back. What's that? Oh, it's a little bit of artifacting. If you scroll a little bit, you'll see a little bit of an edge sometimes along your texture files. That edge doesn't really exist. It's just the program trying to fuck with you. And yeah, you're right, Time Marshal. I prefer flies over wasps because wasps... Right, I'm gonna switch this one over to a JPEG, and I'm gonna call this ground text B. Already, it is an upgrade. It is an upgrade to this. I have a feeling. Okay, so, gonna go into the shading, where we have the ground texture all loaded up. And I've already assigned vertex groups. So in case I needed to grab a hold of them, I could simply select whatever edges I needed to. And yes, I have this text A dirt trans. I think that's fun. Right, so I'm just gonna replace this file here with the new ground texture. Ground text B. Open it. And instantaneously. Oh ho ho. Oh man. Look at that. That looks weird. Because something went wrong. This shouldn't be affected by what I just did. So why are these affected? Oh, I know why that's affected. I'm gonna select these. It's because if we go into the UV editing, I have it placed in the wrong spot. And I can see where I screwed up here. I didn't actually provide an actual dirt texture? Question mark? What? Oh, wait a second. This is the old one. Yeah. Yeah, I see where I screwed up. I did not have... No, I do have a dirt texture here. It's just in the wrong spot. Okay. Okay. Ground text B. Yep, there we go. Select these, where the dirt's supposed to go, and then I'm just going to... Goodness gravy. I keep jumping between programs, and I have to relearn every single time how to move something. You hit G to move it, and click it into the appropriate spot. I screwed up. There's a bright part in the middle here. I don't like it. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. No, I don't. I don't like it. Gonna go for a burn tool. I'm gonna make it darker. No, it just makes it a bit weird. There we go. I'm gonna save this as... I'm gonna overwrite this file. Yep, overwrite it. Bounce back into here. Ground text B, open that. Golly. Grass. Yeah, that definitely does put a damper on things just a hair. But that's the brilliant part about all of this, like for these dark spots here that repeat and repeat and repeat. You could just hop back over to this program. And you can just, generally try to clean it up. Just a little. Here and there. Just a little. Just so it doesn't have a screaming fit. And you can just go back into the program and then just reselect the same texture and it'll automatically refresh. It is so very close to being perfect. But there's still that bright dot right there, I think. So I could just take this and burn. Bam. Boom. Bop. And I think that is pretty neat. Definitely doesn't seem out of place for a video game, does it? I think that it just needs a couple bits of touch-up that I currently don't know how to do in Blender, but I can always learn how to do that. Because Blender has a unique rendering situation going on. If I could just turn on the tree and the rock. I should rename this icosphere into rock. 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 Hey, Aether, welcome! I'm basically just doing some texture work and 3D modeling. Rock. Might redo rock, but for now, rock. Camera. Let's see. There are no active lights in the scene, are there? Render image. Nope. Well, actually, there might be something, because it's illuminating on one side. I think. If that's the case, then what is doing the illuminating? Aha! It's a spotlight. Hidden in the scene. Okay, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna grab it and point it at this scene. Click off, I don't need to view it. Render image. Oh, that's spooky. That's really spooky. I don't think you can see it on stream. It might be too dark. I'm gonna change this spotlight. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. Actually, is it on cycles? It's on cycles. I'm gonna switch it over to Eevee. Why would it be on cycles? I'm gonna switch it back over to about 15. Because cycles, you have to have it. And it's dark. 100 then? Wait a minute, does turning it off in viewer turn it off? No, it doesn't. 500? We're getting a little bit of something. But let's go 1,500. Yep, slowly getting there. 3,000. I hate doing that. But yeah, you could definitely see a little bit now what I'm talking about. The shadows don't look quite right. Though it does look rather eerie, doesn't it? It looks incredibly eerie when you look at it. Ooh. But A, I don't like having a light that bright in my scene, and B, so I'm gonna have to figure out a way of fixing that to make it look a little bit better for what I want to try to do. So yeah, what do you think so far? What do you think of the stuff? Winter says, ran into a friend from high school who basically just pointed at me and went, trans? I've not really had an experience like that. In a fair bit. Most of my friends have always known that I was trans. Thank you so very much. I'm gonna take a quick break really quickly. To get a hold of either some more drinks, handle some things, and also a little bit of research into what I need to do in order to really make the scene pop. Because I think that I need to go into vertex attributes and see if I can paint shadows across certain parts of the scene. And if I can do that, Oh, then it's gonna look fantastic, because then there's gonna be darker shadows in the places that needs to be in, and I won't need to rely on the fancy schmancy cycles engine to render things. We could downgrade it. We can make it look a little bit more like a PlayStation 1 game. Low poly PlayStation 1 game type deal. So I'm gonna be right back, and when I return, hopefully we'll be able to do this properly. Be right back. Hello, I'm back. I've also decided that I kind of want to do this learning while streaming because I think it's important to demonstrate that as much as I know about this, I still need to learn. I mean, for goodness sakes, I actually had to figure out how to make branches quickly and easily because making that tree actually did come with a lot of stress. Hey, Amber Smith, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Okay. So I think I understand how I can make this work. Hey, Taz. Welcome. And thanks, Time Marshall. And thank you, Mary. Thank you. What was I doing? Sorry. Oh, right. I know what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to delete the spotlight. And now I'm going to have to go through all of my materials and actually set them up to get rid of all of this dynamic lighting, because dynamic lighting isn't in a lot of PS1 games. I don't think it's in any. So one of the things that we have to do is to fake it. How does this work? I keep forgetting that I'm in a bit of a more quote-unquote modern version of Blender. So a lot of the things that were called one thing in earlier versions of Blender are called completely different things in this newer one. And they've moved some things around. So I actually have to cross-reference where everything actually is. Seen any new movies lately? Well, my partner actually got me into watching The Hunger Games. That I don't think is as new as it used to be. Sure. Okay. Okay. So that's where it's located under. Okay, so first grab this. Materials. Settings. No shadows. No shadows. Yeah, it definitely is different. Turning off shadows is new. It's new for me. Right, all the objects in the scene. I don't think I need to worry about those objects right now. There's some hidden objects in the scene that I think that you will find out when the animation proper is all finished. Yep, everything should have its shadows removed. Okay. Okay. Shading. Go over here. And we're gonna need mix color. Multiply. Color. Attribute. How does this help me again? Huh. If you haven't seen it, I count it as new. If that's the case, I haven't really seen anything like new recently. I kind of want to watch the Minecraft movie because I have heard a lot of good and negative things about it. Well, I mean, I've actually mostly heard negative things about the Minecraft movie, but I kind of want to watch it anyways. I want to see what it's all about. I want to see the hubbub, as it were. Ah, I get it. I get it. I get it. That's what I need to do. Okay, so I'm gonna go over to Vertex Paint. And I'm gonna select this dark grayish. Turn down that radius. And turn down that strength. And I'm just gonna paint. Get rid of the rock in the tree for a little bit. That was a little bit too big to start with. Ah! Always make sure that you're grabbing what you need to grab. So I'm just gonna paint along this edge right here. There we go. Hallelujah, Vertex Paint. Gotta increase the strength a little bit. Paint along the bottom. Because at the bottom of rivers is wetter sediment. And that dark splotch there. Too strong. Too strong. Ah, no! This is why Control Z is your best friend. And now we're gonna add in the rock and the tree. And under the rock and tree, well, more like upon the rock and upon the tree. Gotta paint them shadows. On the rock, I turned off the shadows for the rock. I can... Oh, right. Maybe for the rock I need to... Yeah. Object mode, select this, go back into Vertex Paint. Does that not work? Oh, it's probably painting. Could get rid of that color ramp. node. I'll plug that in there. Bam! Now, can slide a little bit of that all the way there. Ah, no. Reapply. And now I'm simply going to reset that to the dark. And paint over... Ah, no! Paint over this section right here with relevant shadows. Sounds like a very fun thing to do, being the painter of shadows. Or some such. Oh, I'm sculpting. When I should be painting. Let's get rid of the grid for a little bit and just... tippity tippity tap tap tap. Tippity. Nope. Bad. Tippity tippity tap tap tap. Tippity tippity tap tap tap. Tippity tippity tap tap tap. Oh, I don't like you. Why do you have to be unique, Rock? You know what? I'm gonna go over to... Oh yeah, multiply. That's better. I think that looks better. Ah, fly. Ah, fly. Go away. Need to go darker. Yeah, we need to go darker. Hello? Hello? Why does this rock have to be so special? Okay, switch over to the tree. Go back to object mode and select the tree. Complicated. Why must it be complicated? That node didn't do anything, actually. that's the case, then... Then all I have to do is get rid of that mix shader then. And attach the BSDF to the surface. And it doesn't really... Did it do something? No, it didn't do anything. It's the same. I had nodes that didn't do anything. It's hilarious, that is. Mix color, gonna go over to multiply, factor over to 1, head over to color attribute, color B, bam, vertex paint. Too dark. Oh yeah, that's better. Oh, that is so much better. I like that. Oh, that is good. I like that. I like that. Yes. Yes. Yes! I'm gonna change that radius down. I'm a paint. I'm a painter. How fucking dare I? Okay, rendered scene. Can I add a sun? Okay, why am I still in sculpting mode? Nope. For a second, I was like, there's a dark triangle on that tree. A dark triangle that should not be. That rhymed. I like that it rhymed. That makes me feel happy. Go to shading. Vertex paint. I'm just gonna paint more shadows here. There we go. I like that. Much better. And back into object mode. Now that it's in shading, let us add a light. A sun. GZ. Aim for the rock. Yep. Aim for the rock. No shadows. Change that strength down till it's a little bit dimmer. I'm gonna change it to like a calm blue. Like an evening blue. Oh, that's kind of sinister. I like that. I like that. That looks pretty freaking awesome. Render our image. I'm rather pleased his punch at that. we go. Back over here. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I like that. I really, really like that. Maybe I could change the light color. Here comes the sun. Do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. Do-do-do-do. Sunset. Bright day. Evening. And you could do so much with this scene. Eventually I plan on putting a river in. That needs more shadow. Why doesn't that have any shadow? There, more rounded. And you can fiddle. You can always fiddle with this scene, as you need to. As you do. Songbird says, the rock out here just being difficult to be difficult, lol. Hey, Demofox Akira! Ooh, anyways, I'll be right back. Okay, so I am back. And yeah, I'm a little bit miffed about something. I'm a little bit miffed about something, and I'm going to complain about it in the vaguest possible terms. Because what just happened was a little bit of bullshit. And not even I can excuse that. So, I decided that I was going to DoorDash some lunch. Because, when you're talking for a long period of time and busy thinking about how to model a scene, I mean, as time passes, you just get hungry, right? And so I decided to order to DoorDash something. And before anyone flies into a tizzy, they didn't take my food. And that's not why I'm miffed. I would be able to, forgive if someone stole my food. No, they delivered it. Right here is the drink in question. Typically, I don't order drinks that often, because I've got drinks here. So the Dasher decided to put the cup inside the bag with very weak anchor points. It would have been a miracle if it had stayed upright. It did not stay upright. My first sign of trouble was as I opened the door and looked at this bag that is on my front porch. I see that the bottom is dripping wet. Uh-oh. I pull it inside. It's dripping. Uh-oh. I put it on the table. And I open the bag and I think, oh, please don't tell me you did this. And this poor, poor cup was laying on its side. Granted, it still retained some of its contents, which, I mean, I'm fairly glad about. But it had soaked the entire bottom of the bag and had soaked through a wrapper containing a burger. Thankfully, the burger is relatively okay. So my miff is not, as explosive as it otherwise could have been. So why am I so entirely miffed? Well, for starters, please don't put the drinks inside the bag. Just please don't do that. That isn't... It isn't that stable. The bag wasn't that narrow. It wouldn't have been held up by the sides. And the little flimsy cup holder that it came in certainly didn't do it any justice. It's like... If the bag is going to be that big, to the point where it could theoretically, travel in 360 degrees, if it could feasibly fall over, it will in a car as it's not being held. If that is the case, don't put it in the bloody bag. Keep it outside of the bag. It's okay. I mean, the food is relatively okay. It didn't really get soaked. So it will be fine. And this is just a one-time thing. So I am just going to contain it to me being vaguely miffed for the next minute or so. I already threw the bag away too, so that also has a deciding factor in it. I'm not really willing to go rooting around in my own trash. It's just like, come on. Come on. Please. We're better than this. Ultimately, though, I don't I'm not that angry at the Dasher. The Dasher is just doing their job, and they aren't paid enough, and honest to goodness, I can definitely see why they wouldn't really care about, putting the drink inside the bag. I can see that. I can see how that happened. And so I'm not entirely miffed about that. But I am miffed. Because it kind of did fuck with my food. Because one of the first things I had to contend with was cleaning up soda stains on the table. Because it had dripped through. And I'm gonna have to mop later because it had dripped all over the floor as I was bringing it in. Which is another level of inconvenience. That's one of the things I'm miffed about. And above all else, I'm miffed about one thing. Why did you not consider leaving it out of the bag and using your cup holder? Would it have been that hard? I don't know. Am I thinking too hard about... Am I being miffed for the wrong reasons about all of this? Am I just being a Karen right now? Am I being a Karen fox instead of a Cutiefox? I don't know. I think maybe I am just being a little bit miffed about all of this. Ultimately, though, everything is going to be okay. Like I said, it's most likely just gonna be like a one-time thing. And they won't do that again. Jack Frost says a key attribute of a Karen is lashing out. It's okay to be upset. Yeah. I'm not slamming DoorDash as a service. I'm not saying that the Dasher in question was even incompetent. I actually think that they need to be paid more. I'm just miffed because I have to contend with the inconveniences of cleaning up my apartment after this. So, all in all, my main philosophy is these poor people need to be paid more. And just in the future, please, please, please don't do this if you're going to deliver a drink. Pretty, please. With a cherry on top. Most likely in the future, I probably won't be ordering drinks with my food through DoorDash. If I do order drinks, they'll be ordered separately. Because I'm certainly not going to handle this with chance again. Songbird says, honestly, it's reasonable to be upset because it could have been prevented, but just venting about it instead of attacking the driver is definitely a better way of going about it. Yeah, ultimately, I just prefer that people vent about it with friends, do their best to understand where the other person's coming from in the situation, and, just working through the anger. Not trying to prevent the anger, just working through it. Then I guess I was handling it in a rather positive way, wasn't I? That, and I am kind of used to forms of trampled boundaries where I basically had to endure things happening to me and not really get too riled up about it. But I do have my limits, and one of those limits is my food, and if you screw with that, I am gonna be a little bit miffed about it. Yeah, yeah, DoorDashers aren't paid enough to care, and they should definitely be paid more. They should be paid a living wage, not a surviving wage. Not a day-to-day wage, but a wage that will sustain them for the rest of their lives, sort of deal. Because when you think about it, it is so very convenient to have food that is made in one place, delivered straight to your door. It is incredibly convenient, and I adore that. If you'll pardon the pun. I made that accidentally. But it, like all things, is an art that has been tampered with by capitalism, as all things are. When things are tampered with by capitalism, yeah, you're gonna encounter stuff like this. And yeah, this one part is a minor inconvenience. It is annoying, to be sure, and I'm still a little bit miffed about it, but I've worked through most of the anger. I don't blame the Uber driver, I blame capitalism. いただきます。Yeah, capitalism is a catch-22. You can't not participate in it. And when you think about it, the sort of social programming that has been in effect for the past, I don't know, almost 100 years now has been basically trying to demonize communism and socialism as a whole. Not gonna say that the communist regimes were perfect. They were far from perfect. In fact, I think that the dictatorship that resulted was fairly monstrous. However, just because of that doesn't mean I think we should throw out the entire idea of socialism. I think that we should have more social programs. I think that capitalism should be more controlled. Because in the current system, it's just going to eat us alive, and it's going to suck. Yep, the line must go up and never go down. To the rich and powerful, equilibrium does not exist. There is no system that is ever going to be profitable and helps the poor at the same time. And even if there was one, they would screw over the poor anyway. Precisely, Maxim. We find ourselves in a very interesting predicament. And there is no easy way out of it, because it has been a long-standing tradition. We've baked it into our quote-unquote moral fiber, and it's something that really sucks. One of the things I think we're gonna have to do is really just learn to not expect tit for tat in the same ways as we would think of in capitalism. I think that we should, like, handle some things in terms of Minecraft logistics. If you'll pardon my borrowing of said, like, game systems. What do I mean by this? Okay. Say you are on a server with your friends, and you all each have your own unique areas of, like, specialties. One is a really good miner, one is really, really good at handling mobs, and one is a really, really good builder. Just to name a few. And some are even really, really good at enchanting. And spend a lot of time honing that. And you're all on this server together. And you're not all in the same house. You have your own houses on the server, and you've built it there. You've collected these sorts of resources by yourselves and together. I don't think that it should be a case where you have to, like, always pay diamonds to someone or pay emeralds to someone in order to get something that you need. I think you should just be able to ask for a couple planks here, some sugar there, or even a rare resource like blaze rods or some other thing. And in the moment, you just hand it over, because why wouldn't you? And yes, it is very much hinging on the kindness of the people that are on the server. But isn't that a better system? To share our resources amongst ourselves, where and when we can, instead of constantly trying to decide through use of monetary systems who deserves the resource more than the other person. Because that's what capitalism ultimately boils down to, in my view. Capitalism boils down to this idea that some people are more deserving of certain resources than others. And at what point do I deserve to be treated like a person, and my neighbor gets treated like garbage because I have more money? At what point do I become more deserving than my fellow person? One of the reasons that we've successfully demonized homeless people is the fact that they don't quote-unquote deserve to have homes. They don't quote-unquote deserve to have stability. To take all the dog whistles out it, a lot of conservatives who want to cut social programs believe that the homeless deserve to die. And I can't abide that. I cannot abide that. It is incumbent upon us, where we brush up against laws that are meant to enforce cruelty, it is our moral imperative to go against the grain in that case. To help others, even if it would make us enemies of the state, to do so. To provide places of shelter, where we can, when we can, as we can. Consequences be damned, because the consequences otherwise is that good people are going to die. At what point should you say, well then go ahead and let them die? I'm not going to risk my skin. That's what it all boils down to in the end, doesn't it? I don't want to live in this system. I want to make a better system. I want to rip up hostile architecture where I can. I want to build a shelter where I can, if I can. I want to feed people if I can, with food that I have if I can. And if that particular moral compass runs me afoul of the law because I'm not supposed to feed the homeless, then those anti-homeless laws be damned. They be damned, for they were birthed in evil. Legislation birthed in evil should be consigned to the dustbin of history. Exactly, Ambersmith. Food, water, and housing should be a guarantee for all people. I also hazard that electricity and even baseline internet should be a right, because the internet grants you access to learning materials. Access to learning materials automatically increases your... what's the word I'm looking for here? Quality of life. It increases your quality of life to be able to research what you need to in order to continue to stay alive. To be able to make doctor's appointments, or to be able to, you know, go to that job interview, or to be able to continue doing the base social need in order to help provide for other people. We each have our own specialties, and I think that we need to do our part in order to dismantle this system that we find ourselves in. This system that is holding us captive like prisoners. In capitalism, we are, in all but name, prisoners. Shackled to have our wages stolen from us. Shackled to prevent us from lending a helping hand to our neighbors when they are in trouble. Propaganda is fed to us to demonize whole other demographics of people, setting us against each other, when really we should be against the top. We should be facing those in power, those 1%ers, those who own billions of dollars. That is where our fight is. Billionaires should not exist. Trillionaires should not exist. Millionaires? I don't know. All I know is that a billion is definitely an order of magnitude larger than a million. And that billionaires should not exist. Their wealth should be confiscated, for it was illegally gained. It was stolen. Let us not kid ourselves. That money was stolen from us. It was stolen from the American people, and by that, the American people should have a right to take it back. Those bloomin' mosquitoes, blood-sucking, far-right extremist billionaire assholes. They deserve to have a comfortable life. But no more than that. They should not have power over us. And they certainly shouldn't be stealing all this money from us. You're right, Maxine. Capitalism is a dead drop. It's a cliff that is designed to shove you off at every opportunity. Allow me to tell you of the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation is responsible for a good majority of the right-wing base's power in the United States. The Heritage Foundation is a cabal of far-right rich quote-unquote Christian nationalists. Their entire goal is the Project 2025 MO. I would definitely recommend you do your due diligence and research them. This might sound a bit conspiracy theorist of me, but they've kind of been around since the Reagan administration. They're the people that plugged Reagan into the White House. And where do all of these, like, resource cuts come from? Where do all these rich tax cuts come from? Why? They came from Reagan. The Heritage Foundation, potentially, is the spider web that keeps us trapped. In order to set us free from said right-wing propaganda, we need to be willing to dismantle them, wherever we find them, to push back, to say no. Precisely, Amber Smith. I don't remember who originally said it, but there is a phrase. If the fine is like $200 or so, then it really is only a crime for the poor. And it really is just something that the rich can spend that $200 on to get away with it for another year. And it should be different. Illegal activities should come with serious weight. And again, we have a criminal in our head office, and we honestly need to do something about it. We need to get him out of office immediately because he's a convicted felon. Dude is bad news. Dude is so bad news. Him and his buddies are bad news. I know, it's far from a hot take. But we really ought to do something about this. I can't be sitting by and watch a horse in a hospital again. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that for another 4 years. What are your thoughts on this? I think it's a funny thing that when Luigi Mangione was arrested on the charges of alleged murder, one of the first things that they tried to do was to upgrade it to a terrorism charge. I think that they want to make an example of Luigi Mangione. They want to make an example of someone who dared to fight back against a corrupt system. That's why the charges levied are now a little bit larger. Precisely. Precisely, Winter. Precisely. Precisely, Winter. And yeah, I'm really sorry, Amber Smith. Ah, low-key. Go away, low-key. Ah yes, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Definitely Jack Frost. Indeed, Winter. The media has largely forgotten about Luigi, quote unquote. They want him ignored. They want him brushed over. If anything, he kinda just became the face of the revolution, a la Katniss Everdeen. I once heard the quote, "If you aim for the king, you best not miss." In this instant, Brian Thompson, may his soul rot for all eternity, definitely, yeah, his murderer definitely managed to nail him. And notice I said his murderer, not Luigi, because there's actually very little proof that it was Luigi Mangione. At least, that is what I remember. It could be that I am mistaken, then that there is some small smidgen of proof here and there, but, I think that it's only alleged until it is proven. Precisely, Winter. But honest to goodness, I think that it might backfire a little bit. I think that it should backfire. Because if the ruling class is willing to put down tiny acts of rebellion, and it just becomes clear to us that we should use our lives in constructive ways. Be very careful, Mary. Hello, Miranda. I do believe that voting is important, Miranda. However, you are right in this feeling of malaise. Well, Miranda, what would you suggest we do? The Godfather 2. I've never watched the Godfather movies, but in The Godfather 2 there is a very poignant quote. It goes like, if you hold a gun, and I hold a gun, we can talk about the law. If you hold a knife, and I hold a knife, we can talk about rules. If you come empty-handed, and I come empty-handed, we can talk about reason. But if you have a gun and I only have a knife, then the truth lies in your hands. If you have a gun and I have nothing, what you hold isn't just a weapon, it's my life. The concept of laws, rules, and morality only hold meaning when they are based on equality. The harsh truth of this world is that when money speaks, truth goes silent, and when power speaks, even money takes 3 steps back. Those who create the rules are often the first to break them. Rules are chains for the weak, tools for the strong. In this world, anything good must be fought for. The masters of the game are fiercely competing for resources, while only the weak sit idly, waiting to be given a share. I've been thinking about that quote a lot more. I've been thinking about it more and more as days go by. When it becomes clear, year after year after year, that we've been on this downward spiral, that with each new Republican candidate put into office, our lives grow substantially more worse. Substantially worse, you get it. When it becomes clear that, to be frank, they are the problem, at what point do we have faith that the system becomes self-correcting? Gosh, I'm tired. Winter says the issue is as it stands, we have two options: vote for evil or vote for the enablers. I'm reminded of the Declaration of Independence. I recommend that you give it a read because it is a very interesting document. And, if you will indulge me, I would like to read the beginning parts of the Declaration of Independence for you. In Congress, July 4th, 1776. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, when, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government, and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. Of these, I will only read the first three. 1. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. 2. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended he has utterly neglected to attend to them. 3. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. And I read this first part of the Declaration of Independence, and I'm thinking, well, gosh, doesn't some of this sound familiar? Doesn't a lot of this sound really, really fucking familiar? Here we are again, with a government that is not listening to us, where we are being paid substantially less than we can afford, where we are doing our barest minimums to survive, where we have been suffering, where we have been set against each other. These abuses are not forgotten, and they are certainly not forgiven. We have been set to hound each other, to nip at each other's heels, like dogs for scraps of food. I do not believe myself to be such a canid. I don't believe myself to be a dog. I believe myself to be an individual among individuals. And it has become very, very clear that there is something very wrong here, isn't there? Allow me to also share with you another crucial fact. We think of the Founding Fathers as being old, kindly gentlemen, or just old men in general. But they were our age. They were younger than I am today. Think on that. 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, deciding the fate of a nation together. You'd think that they perhaps would be too immature to do such a thing. Such as some forms of sensibility. But I think it rather prudent to remind us that this country was founded by the young. Precisely, Winter. And precisely, Winter. It is a depressing fact. But yeah, I read through the Declaration of Independence, and a lot of the points stated, a lot of them, definitely seem to have some parallel in modern day when compared to our own government. Perhaps I am mistaken in this assumption, or this analysis, this assessment. I would encourage you to read this document for yourself, to make your own judgments, to research and educate yourselves as to what it means, as to what it is. I'll also make it clear from history that the War for Independence was a war between a startup government and the Great British Empire. But yeah, the American Revolutionary War was a war. A war with guns and of violence. And in the end, what came of it? We have spoken about the paradox of tolerance, where we must be intolerant of intolerance. Oh, thank you so very much, Water Gaming. I really, truly appreciate it. Precisely, Winter. Those on top want us to be starving and undereducated because starving peasants make poor revolutionaries. Unfortunately, we managed to have one big advantage that they could not have foreseen in the 80s. We have the internet. We are able to spread information. We are able to spread ideas far and wide. We are allowed to discuss things amongst one another without need of such oversight. We are able to discuss our mistreatment in greater detail. We're able to offer opposing viewpoints. I think water gaming, that is a bit of a point. That is definitely a point. A lot of discourse on the internet has been really, really bad. Groups splinter off into other groups instead of coming together. Hello, Trainmaster. I completely understand that, water gaming. For the trans community, it definitely has been a consistent form of, what's the word I'm looking for? It has been a consistent fact that we have been judged before we are even known. They learn that we are trans, and the cishet bigots decide to tear us down for it. They judge us without knowing us. Welcome, Lenny Loves Coffee. Please drag up a chair. Allow yourself some time to rest. Right. If I can have your attention really, really quickly. I think that we've been talking about politics for a lot, and I think that we need to take a little bit of time to take a deep breath in and out. In and out. Very good. Very, very good. I think it definitely a very wise thing to take a moment and breathe when we've been talking about such stressful topics for several minutes. When we are confronted with the fire outside. When we're confronted with how shitty the world is right now. And let me be very, very clear. Things are bleak. Things are bleak. It's not your fault that they're bleak. But we can still take a moment to just breathe and take comfort. To be able to rest and relax in one another's company. Everything is going to be okay. It certainly won't be right away or in the next couple of months, but everything will be okay eventually. We just need to keep going. I've gotcha. I'm not going anywhere. I want to say thank you for enduring a lot of the political speech that has been going on for however many minutes it's been now. I know that I am very, very vehemently, I'm very vocal about my politics. I am very much leftist. I am left of center. And I make that very, very clear. I want to also point out that we need to take some time to decompress from all of this. That while we cannot set the burden down entirely, we can at least rest, to relax. I'm trying to think of the appropriate words here. Do forgive me. All is not doom and gloom. It is a facet of life, and there is still so much brightness to be had. There is joy to be had. Personally, I find my joy in creation, in writing, in reading, in thinking about worlds that are not my own, of playing games, of being able to make things with my hands, to make the 3D models that I demonstrated earlier in the stream. That fills me with a sense of peace and joy, and definitely serves to help drag me out of any form of malaise. What is it that you like to do? What is it you like to make? Doesn't matter what it is. So long as you do it and you like doing it and you can take pride in doing it. What is your special interest? Please tell me. I see water gaming. Very, very nice. Personally, I need to watch more anime. It's been too long. I've been playing Minecraft a lot. I like making things in the worlds and just mining resources. It's very, very relaxing. It is my Zen garden. I don't really go on Twitter anymore. It's a site filled with Nazis. At Boopsit Diet Yandere. Amber says, I also make 3D and physical miniatures, Warhammer. Do you have any 3D modeling tutorials you recommend? I definitely recommend looking on YouTube for any Blender 3D modeling tutorials that deal with beginner and intermediate. a lot of my particular education with 3D modeling was from college. Hey, Amy Wires, welcome! Oh, I see water gaming. I've been debating playing Honkai Star Rail. I've been debating doing that. I'm still thinking that I won't for the time being because, well, I don't want to get entirely sucked into it just yet. And because I also have an entire library full of games that I need to get through. Like the original Dark Souls and Dark Souls 3. I still need to play through the DLC. Thank you so very much for the suggestion, Water Gaming. I really do appreciate it. Oh, good, Lenny loves coffee. It's quite alright indeed. I really like coffee too. I enjoy a dark roast myself. I really like dark roasts, strong coffee. Mary, shilling the Oblivion remaster. Maybe. I might do that. Maybe I should get Baldur's Gate 3. Maybe. I still have to pay for my insurance. Ugh. I have to pay bills and insurance. Oh. Oh. That's gonna suck. But hey, if you want to help out with that, my Patreon is in the description down below. You're not obviously compelled to subscribe to it or anything. In fact, I would very much prefer that you only sign up if you're able to kick a few dollars my way. I don't want to, like, bleed you dry. Yes, unfortunately, CM Fireflies, foxes do need insurance. I've been paying health insurance for a while. Unfortunately, paying this insurance definitely does also, like, it definitely gives me even more, of a little, it gives me a little bit more anger towards the healthcare insurance industry than it usually does. Also, and this is because I am currently an American citizen, still trapped inside this country, I apologize for what my government is doing. I did not vote for him. I don't vote Republican. And I really truly apologize for what my government is doing. It really is a big shame of mine. I cannot be patriotic about my country because I know of all of the evils that it has committed, that it is continuing to allow. Precisely, Mary. Did you know that there are actually some textbooks that were legitimately written that had blatantly false information in them? That in textbooks, in American textbooks, there was actually in one in there. Goodness gracious. Trying to tell this is like trying to negotiate with my blood mother. Oh my gosh. Words between brain and mouth. Trying to establish that. There are textbooks published in the South, I don't remember which state, but it was the South, this I remember, that taught that Columbus had discovered Ohio in 1942. Not kidding. Take that with a grain of salt. I'm trying to find the textbook in question. I don't think I can find it right now. If that is the case that I can't find it, then it very well may not exist, and it could just be a fact that I heard somewhere and just didn't verify. So keep your mind sharp and take it with a grain of salt. It could very well be misinformation that I heard. But if it is indeed true, then I feel a little less hope for a lot of schools in the South, below the Bible Belt. Mary Drake, precisely. Beware information you receive online. A lot of it is false. That has been a PSA from Mary Drake and Cutiefox ASMR. Always, 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 always double and triple check your sources. Most excellent, Mary Drake. I'm glad to hear it. Amy Wires, that is true. Check at least 4 times to be sure. Boing, 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 boing. Feeling nice and happy. I feel fairly relaxed. Especially after a lot of what I've been talking about. I think that will do for the time being. That's right, Mary. Kyle Hill has useful video about how to effectively do research online. Google that if anyone needs help on the subject. Thank you so very much, Mary Drake. Thank you so very much. That is very helpful information. Do check that video out. Remember, Kyle Hill. And in the meantime, I think that will just about do it for me today. Phew. Thank you so very much for stopping by to watch the stream. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully I'm gonna be streaming a lot more over the next couple of weeks. It's really great. Yeah. Please enjoy either hot or cold drinks of your choice. Make sure that you eat something healthy and nutritious. And make sure you stay hydrated. And that you get adequate rest. Please. Please get some adequate rest and hydration. You don't want to disappoint me, do you? Okay. Well, anyways, I shall see you next week, hopefully. Hopefully I won't vanish again. Hopefully I won't vanish into the ether like I did a couple of weeks ago. I really did not enjoy vanishing for those past couple of weeks. Wasn't it fun? So, yeah. Stay safe out there. Bye-bye!